You know, I keep stopping to take pictures and videotape all these wild edible plants. I'm never going to get to my mushroom hunting spot. But I probably went 5 miles now. I'm about halfway there. And in that time, I've probably found at least 20 wild edibles. I probably videotaped and took pictures of 10. There's another. Now this isn't a wild edible, but it is considered a medicinal. But what I use it for is making soap in the field for washing my pots and pans mixed with a little bit of wood ash, or for washing my hands and even my clothes or whatever if I needed to. But I have used it for washing my hands and face and pots. You can use it to wash your hair. Soapwort or bouncing bat. Pretty distinct plant. Now the whole plant can be used to make soap. You can just take the flowers, leaves, stems and all and crush it up in some water and you'll get suds. And you get a lot of suds. There's saponins in there. But that's soap. No doubt. And supposedly this plant can be used as a fish poison because of the saponins. And the best way to gather it, from what I understand, is to let the plant go dormant in the late fall or winter time or very early spring before the plant starts to grow, and harvest the root itself, because those saponins are drawn down into the root and concentrated. But I've always just used the leaves in the field and it seems to work good enough for me. But before I got distracted with that soapwort, it just goes to show, you know, how easy it is to find these wild edible plants and mushrooms and stuff if you know what you're looking for, especially if you you know, have an understanding of the plant families and different flower shapes and stuff, because if you've got a good field guide with you, it makes identifying them a lot easier. You know, I think that'll benefit me a lot more than simply being able to build a shelter, because anybody can figure out through trial and error how to build a shelter, but you can't figure out through trial and error how to eat a plant, because you'll end up poisoning yourself. Here's another wild edible. It's a good point, because there's a lot of people that know how to build shelters and make friction fire and stuff, but there's not too many that know they're wild edibles. And I think that's what separates the you know, it takes you to a higher level. If you know how to go out in the woods and identify the flora and fauna and put it to use, that makes you that much better at being able to enjoy the wilderness, for one, which is my purpose for doing it, just simply getting out and enjoying the woods and having fun and making my time in the woods easier and more enjoyable. But if you were put into a survival situation, it would make you that much more prepared to deal with the situation. Because whether we want to admit it or not, food is a huge, important part of our life. Here's that plant I just drove by, Japanese knotweed. This whole entire area, this whole woods was nothing but Japanese knotweed for the past few years. But they came through here early this spring and they sprayed this whole area, and they completely killed off everything to try and get rid of this Japanese knotweed. But as you can see, it didn't do any good, because it's all growing right back, and next spring this whole area will be nothing but Japanese knotweed again. You get these young shoots in the spring and they taste like rhubarb. And if you don't know what rhubarb tastes like, basically it's like a sour apple, but sweet. Tastes good, kind of like a sweet and sour apple. Japanese knotweed. When I first started getting into this, I was mainly into the wild edible mushrooms because I really liked eating morels. And I wanted to find out if there were other equally good edible mushrooms that maybe didn't get as much hunting pressure as the morels. So that I could go out and harvest them in an enjoyable fashion. Because when you hunt morels, it's more like a war or a race to see who gets there first to pick them, because there's so much competition. Getting kind of windy. Well, high bush cranberry, I'm not stopping for that one. I'll never get where I'm going. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments and support.